here next year and who isn't.
I might not be here next year. Can we do this again?
Oh, come on, man, John. You have.
I'm seeing the end of the
opt into the contract.
I'm back next year. I'm in on next year. I think he can hit
I'm seeing the Cancun, situation now.
Even if I was in on next year, I'm not doing this right now. No, no. This team doesn't deserve that. They don't deserve a. It's I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. No, absolutely not.
No, but who on the roster is probably not here next year?
Shimmy.
I'm thinking.
Damn.
I'm thinking.
And I genuinely like Shimmy, but
I do too. But I saw him today, and I was literally like, "This guy's not in the NBA next year." Like, it just crossed my mind. Like,
someone will pick him up. He'll get picked up. Yeah. He'll be somewhere.
I see a lot of 10-day contracts in Semi's future, and maybe a trip overseas.
And one of those games has to be against the Bucks because that's on the scouting report. Like he's.
Wouldn't be surprised if that's the team that picks him up though.
He's pretty good against Giannis, right? That's what I'm saying. Maybe a team in the East that's trying to match up, against Giannis.
And his best game of the season will be when they play the Celtics. You know that, right?
So I feel like everyone in the last 72 hours turned on Smart.
Shemi will drop 17.
It's not about turning on Smart. It's just a legit question about who's on the edge here.
Yeah.
On what's going to be an expensive roster, what's his contract, and what's his future look like. Someone tweeted me today and was like, "You guys are putting this all on Smart." I don't think that's what we've done at all. We've pointed out some of his flaws with it and shortcomings this year, but I think overall he's actually fought pretty hard to fix this situation. He's been hurt, he's been out of the mix and off the ball and stuff like that at certain times. But strictly talking about his contract, his age, which I couldn't really figure out the other day, but now I know.
24, is it 25, 26, 28?
And another free
how long has he been?
Keep going.
And another free agent to be in Fournier. It's a legitimate question. Plus, unlike John, I do think he has value around the league.
Well, it's not about whether he has value. It's about whether there's anything you can get in return. I don't really care so much about what other teams think of it. What are they willing to give up?
Yes, exactly. That's the big difference.
That's the concern I have with Marcus. There's no question that teams around the NBA like him, but how much are they willing to give up to get him?
That's always been the case.
Right.
Exactly.
And that's where I'm not sold on the Celtics being able to do something with Marcus that they're going to feel good about, that they're going to get a good return on. Now, if it gets to the point where they realize, we're just not going to plan on re-signing him, we might as well try to get some assets right now for him, then that's a different conversation. But if we're talking about whether Marcus Smart has tremendous value to the point where teams are willing to give up fair market value assets for him, I don't think that's the case. Yeah. I just don't. I don't think teams are, because of the kind of wear and tear that he's put on his body. I think that is something that teams are a little concerned about. 2, he's not making a ton of money, but if you make a deal for him, he's going to expect significantly more. Are you willing to commit to an $18, $19, $20 million a year Marcus Smart down the road? Probably not a lot of teams are willing to do that. So those are some of the things that if you're Danny Ainge, you got to be thinking about, how can I get value for the guys that I'm probably going to lose anyway, and get enough value where I can flip that into something of significance for my team sooner rather than later, because they need to make significant changes, not in terms of getting, top 10 player or anything like that. Significant changes as far as reconfiguring their roster. This team, the way they're constructed now, you can't have a Tristan Thompson as your starting center next year. You can't have, 3, 4, 5 guys, who you've been in your program for 2 or 3 years not playing. That doesn't happen. When guys are on your team for more than 2 years and they haven't played, they're not on your team anymore. Again, you're finding a new home for them.
Right.
Yeah.
So
that's usually how that works.
Taco, Tremont, you look at Shimmy, he's been kind of in and out. You got to find a new home for those guys if you don't plan on playing them significantly. And there's a reason why you don't play them, because they can't help you win right now.
And very simply, from a value perspective, you're talking about a guy entering a contract year. Okay, Bobby, what did Evan Fournier in a contract year making $17 million net then get Orlando in return? Nothing.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's like what
They got 2
assets
second-round picks.
2
Right.
second. That's nothing. It's
That was
nothing.
at the deadline,
I
though.
think
I
that's
understand that, but you know, you're going in to get a guy for a year who's a rental. Are you gonna give up
So
real assets there?
See, that's
No
why so many
way.
that's
No
why so many
way.
people differ on this Marcus Smart thing, is because everyone sort of has a different, in terms of his value. We're not quite sure what other teams think, and I think a lot of people, especially in Boston, a lot of people have different opinions on where how valuable Marcus Smart truly is. I just don't know if during the offseason is the time you try to cash in on trading someone like Marcus Smart.
You're not going to get better. That's the problem with Marcus
And that's
Smart.
nothing too. Yeah, right. You're not going to get better. Like,
So
you're going to have to
That's
get,
what I said from the start.
75
Marcus
cents
Smart
off the dollar, right?
does not. You are better for keeping him than anything you can get in return for him. Because
Right,
again,
that's why.
and that's the Bobby Sherrod hit it on the head. That's always been the issue. It's not that Marcus Smart isn't a valued player around the league for what he does. It's that you don't value him enough to give anything of value for him. You know, so that's the thing. You're not giving up first round picks or young assets for a player like Marcus Smart. And so he's much greater value to the Celtics right now. It'd be the same thing with Kemba Walker. You can't trade Kemba for equal value. What he gives you on the court is way better than what you're going to be able to get in a return, given his salary and age and injury.
And
so that's why
ultimately,
you're stuck running it back. I'm sorry, Josue. I kind of jumped in, but that's the whole ball game with there.
And ultimately, you're better off for keeping him on a fair deal after next year. I agree with you there. It's just, does this team have the stomach to bring everything back at the price that
But
it's going to be?
they have virtually no choice. That's the problem.
And that's the umbrella that they are going to be walking under as they bring these guys back. This is a team that we had to bring back because we didn't have a choice. And they're going to use the health and safety protocols. They're going to use injuries. They're going to use all of the explanations that we've talked about at some point to justify why they're doing that. And for them, for them and the players, it's going to be an opportunity to really find out whether these guys, frankly, get it. I mean, you're getting a second chance to run this back even when you probably didn't deserve one. Are you going to take advantage of the opportunity? Are you going to play with greater effort? Are you going to not be seen as a soft team? Because that's what they're seen as right now. Anyone that has the Celtics on their schedule feels we just play moderately hard, we're going to win. We're going to win. They have become that team that they would demolish in past years. That's who they are now.
Is there a ton of hope for the young players on this roster growing into something? Because remember last night, Sherrod said, I want to see some veterans come in here. And we're like, probably not. They want to keep it cheap. They want to keep rolling with some of these young players and see if they can develop into something. Shemi's obviously not going anywhere, like in terms of potential. Grant, I think we've seen him stagnate. Edwards certainly has. Romeo, who knows? Like he was a no-show out there again tonight. Like a lot of the players on this roster just don't seem to have that upside. They don't even show you flashes in games like this where they have plenty of opportunity.
Yeah, I feel like those are the ones that are on the bubble no matter what. I mean, those are the ones where you're like during the offseason, if they stay, you're like, oh, okay, maybe they got something there. But I mean, I think at this point of the season and in the situation, the scenario Celtics are in right now, I mean, if we're not seeing Jabari Parker out there, if we're not seeing, who else didn't play? I mean,
Taco?
Do they bring back Taco? Like, again, these are conversations that Danny and Brad Stevens need to have. I mean, not to say that they didn't have a similar conversation before going into the offseason. I mean, I'm sure both of them agreed on Tristan Thompson. I'm sure both of them agreed on Jeff Teague, but maybe it's time to go back and thoroughly, obviously Brad's going to go through the numbers and do analytics and all that. But I mean, from the outside looking in, it just seems like guys like Robert Williams, Evan Fournier, obviously we talked about him being a priority for them to bring back. But I mean, Robert Williams, a healthy Robert Williams all season long, I still want to know what that looks like. If you're the Celtics, you just traded away, or a couple of months ago, you just traded away your starting center in Daniel Tice. I'm sure they want to know what a full healthy season of Robert Williams looks like. And you saw the stride that he made this season, so makes it even more enticing.
The rookies and Rob showed you enough this year that you think there's another step for those guys. There's a handful of others
That's
here.
That's a good way to put it. The rookies and Rob, right? Neesmith, Pritchard. I think those are the three that the Celtics are.
But everybody
else, they're not giving up on those three, right?
Everybody else is hurting you in the rotation now. and might not be going anywhere, which
Why
is tough.
isn't Jabari playing though? Like, why? Why? Like, I know he's not gonna thrill you, but like, can he just get a couple of reps? I just don't understand the logic behind it if Robert Williams is out.
I don't understand it. They brought him in. I didn't have high expectations for him, but yeah, you want to see him play, and he
Wait, is
hasn't.
Carson Edwards the only like? Oh, I need points in a hurry. Carson, like, is that his only or one of the? No, his only go-to off the bench because it isn't anybody else, right? No one else has that role, and no one's flourished in it.
No, and that's kind of Parker's role in a forward sense or at center. It
Right.
makes no
So
sense.
why not combine that production with Grant? I mean, that's the thing though. Defensively, yeah, he's a bit of a liability, but we're talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers. I mean, he can't get on the court against the the just lost 11 in a row Cleveland Cavaliers. Like,
He probably would have helped. And that's, again, you're not
Man.
building anything if you're not playing him. You're not even increasing the chances, I think, of him fitting in next year. And who knows? He could have a great training camp. He could come in the next year healthy and fresh and turn around. But you want to see him meshing with some of these guys now. That's the reason why he's here. You would think he'd be able to play over Langford, Edwards, even Cornette. You know, I thought Cornette played well, but if I wouldn't be going crazy if Parker played over him in certain games. When they asked Brad
your
about
boy clocked in damn near 20 minutes, man. I don't know about all that. A little too much Cornette for my liking.
Well, he's done everything so far except make shots, which is tough. Because he gets open looks, really open looks. 1 of 5 here.
I saw those blocks though. I'm not sleeping on that. I saw those defensive stops. I like that.
They asked Brad about Parker not too long ago, and Brad said that he hadn't been playing because some more guys were available, and now that less guys were available, you might see him more. And so it is kind of puzzling that they haven't increased his workload and opportunity since, especially Rob is down now. They view him as a 4, as a 5, that kind of thing. So that opportunity is wide open for him there. And instead, Taco's gotten minutes. Cornette has gotten a ton of opportunity. Grant has played some small ball 5. And Parker is really the odd one out of the entire rotation right now. Is he hurt? Is he banged up? Is he on ice? I don't know.
I don't think that's the case. And I don't think he should have played against Miami either game. I don't think he could have given the Celtics much in that
But
matchup.
Tonight he could have.